Through the vastness of space and time, touching the very edge of the universe, Dr. Greer and his CE5 ambassadors embarked on a journey. Their collective, enlightened consciousness
Oh my God.
not only created an experience felt by the entire group, but also captured undeniable video evidence of contact.
See, look at that. Your consciousness and your belief system is deterministic as to whether or not these civilizations want to make contact with you. So that's an actual ET craft in the field.
What is this?
There it is.
A CE5 expedition with over 700 people from around the world to make peaceful contact with extraterrestrial beings.
How beautiful.
That's what the CE5 initiative is. The secrecy on this subject. They're happy for people to think there are ETs or aliens out there. They really don't want people to know this. This is the heart of the secrecy. See, this is really the unfolding of this infinite conscious quantum hologram. There's so many transdimensional objects that are lighting up and coming on and off out here.
There it is.
If you're a sincere ambassador to the universe, you want to make contact with them first.
Dr. Greer presents CE5, the new frontier of contact. It's available right now, streaming on all platforms like Apple TV and Amazon. We've got Dr. Stephen Greer with us right now on location. He's in Virginia, but we were there with him in the desert for about 14 days doing the CE5 protocol. Man, we caught all kinds of phenomenon. Steve, thanks for being here on this incredible interview. We're going to be going over the documentary and some of the some clips that entail the CE5 protocol. So it's going to be an exciting episode. Steve, CE5, you say this is the most important thing that the CIA doesn't want you to know, right?
It is, and the reason for it is that, as some of you may have learned over the last couple of years, and I've known this since the early 90s, there's a concerted effort using consciousness to make contact with extraterrestrial spacecraft and civilizations, but it's been used as a weapon system. And what we're doing is the opposite. We are trying to make peaceful contact. And I'm actually wearing my CE5 cap. You can get it at our store, drstephengreer.com. And you can get this too. This is fun. So we have all the CE5 stuff for your team. And the idea is that we want people to go out and use the CE5 contact app, which you can get at your app stores, and watch the movie, get the app, and go out and make contact. Why is this important? This is why. There are programs that are using the same concepts of consciousness, but they have perverted them into a violent weapon system. And they're known as P3 operators or psionic operators. And what we started in 1990 with CE5 Contact is a program that's now global to make peaceful contact, not to shoot their craft down and steal their technologies to turn them into another weapon system, but to develop a relationship between humans and non-human civilizations out there. So it's a very important concept that we need to get out to the public right now. Why? Well, unless you don't live on planet Earth, you might have heard that the President of the United States has ordered the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to release all this information from UFO files. Now, we'll unpack this in a minute. And so we anticipated this. When we decided to release this film at this time, it was because I knew this was coming. And we knew that there was going to be some kind of pivot towards official disclosure, which, I mean, I founded the disclosure movement in the 1990s, actually. And that it was very important to begin to answer the question, now what? Right? So this
Yeah.
movie is the answer to now what? Because what happens after all this comes out? We run around like chickens with our head cut off, like Independence Day, the movie, because they're going to try to possibly put this out as an alien threat, totally hoaxed. Or what are we going to do with the technologies? Continue to keep them secret and use them as weapon systems against the ETs? Or are we going to continue this operation to target when we have downed probably thousands of ET spacecraft over the last 80 years using very advanced technology, including the psionic ones, which is a consciousness thought interface with machine? I'll get into this in a moment. So it's very important for those of us concerned about the future of the earth and humanity to do something sensible, to do something peaceful, and to avoid, the sole narrative being, gee, we're being invaded by aliens and we need to go to, war or something bizarre. So I think this movie answers that question of what now. And this is why we decided to release this film at this time. And thanks to the help of the Cousin Brothers and others who made it and the people who participated, I'm very grateful, because this is the message that we need to get out there. And it's the vision that we have to share with the world, is that how do we view ourselves as humans going into a time where it's widely acknowledged that we're not alone in the universe? We have to answer that question, because if not, it will be answered by people who are the warmongers who benefit from endless war, who have been planning for 80 years to present a alien threat that is non-existent. And if we don't answer that question and have a counter message, a message that is enlightened and peaceful. Everyone talks about a golden age. Well, the golden age is not peace on earth followed by interplanetary war. I got news for folks, in Congress, the White House, and the general public, and particularly in ufology. So I think that this is why we have to get this message out. And what this film does, which is very different from the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind movie we released during COVID in 2020, this one is actually almost like it's an hour and 10 minutes or so, like a manual. It takes you through a whole week expedition of our team going out in the desert in Arizona, making contact, how it happens, how you set up your team, what kind of phenomenon we might expect. And so it's a wonderful thing to introduce to people. And because it's not very long, you can share it with folks and let them see this is the way it's done, and then ask them to get the app, because the app is an entire program. It trains you in remote viewing, making contact with the ETs. What do you do if they show up? What do you not do? All that is in the app. It's very, very dynamic. And the app also will show you where people are in your area and other people that you can connect to form a contact team. Because really what we want to do, let's not forget one of the central messages of the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. When a critical mass of humans with positive consciousness begin to do anything, it propagates through the field consciousness. And it's like the 100th monkey effect. People spontaneously begin to think that way, behave that way. This is very important at this exact moment when we're on the eve of this information coming out in some way or another, and I'll address this in a moment, from the U.S. government.
Steve, that's what I was going to mention, because in CE5, the New Frontier of Contact, we were out there in the desert. You had a collective, I think we're out there until 2 a.m. Over 500 people were on this collective conscious of communication. It seemed people were seeing the phenomenon. And then we remote viewing experiments, and we did that with more of a private group, which I think this film actually shows what it's like in these private CE5 meetings that you have throughout the world. It's kind of like you're a fly on the wall. But does it really, it matters, everybody has their own individuality to make contact, but the collective conscious is where the power really makes it more tangible, and the proof comes out.
Yeah, it's almost like that's an ancient saying. those who work together have great power. And
let's roll a clip real quick so people
yeah.
can kind of see this one. Like I said, over 500 people were out there in the desert. Here's a quick clip of CE5, the new frontier of contact.
Dr. Stephen Greer, 10 days, a CE5 expedition. CE5 stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which means human-initiated contact with non-human intelligences. It's a technique developed by Dr. Stephen Greer that involves deep meditation and consciousness work to achieve a unified mental state. It began in the Arizona desert with over 700 people from around the world, all gathered with a single profound purpose: to make peaceful contact with extraterrestrial beings. The goal? To answer humanity's most profound question, are we alone? And the answer, no. We are not alone, and contact is not only possible, it's happening.
So they know we're here. This is the key point. They know we're here. They're excited we're here. And how far things go has to do with the group and its coherence.
Whoa. Thank you. Oh my God. How beautiful.
A lot of people were there.
Yep.
People were seeing the phenomenon. It's crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, and what's interesting is that was followed by a small group of about 25 people. So you can do it in any number of people. I've done it with a couple thousand people at times. But the key thing to remember is that the studies that were done in consciousness at Princeton by Dr. Bob John, who was a professor of engineering, and he found, like with random number generators that just spit out zeros and ones like a quantum computer randomly, that if you put people in a room and just had them think to that machine and intend with a clear intention for it to move towards more ones instead of zeros, it did. And it was statistically significant. But if you had two people that loved each other, or a group of people who were coherent, it was exponential effect. It was tenfold. And this is the power of humans coming together to do something great and to do something beautiful that's positive. It has this amazing, what's called non-locality effect, meaning that it affects, because of consciousness is omnipresent, it's everywhere. And our own awareness is, in a sense, look at it as sort of like a ray of that infinite field of awareness and consciousness and cosmic consciousness. So when we activate that field consciousness by coming together, it reverberates non-locally. In other words, like quantum entanglement all throughout the world and throughout humanity, and in fact, throughout the universe. And it creates a signal, a message that very advanced civilizations that are not only enlightened in consciousness, but have technologies that can pick that up, and they do. Then this signals to them that humans are more than just a bunch of warmongers, that we're more than just a bunch of hysterical primates running around, oh my God, the aliens are invasion. It sends another message to the universe and to these civilizations who are already here visiting us. So it's so important that we keep this in mind, and that the power of forming a group, it doesn't have to be 20 people. You could do it with, 3, 4, 5 people, 6. You know what the key thing is, friends? Coherence. So there's not disharmony in the group, people meditating together, people using the remote viewing protocols, making contact, understanding what the phenomenon is, and we'll talk about that. It's more than just 3D, because extraterrestrial civilizations cross through dimensions. And so they can be out in the desert in forms that are extremely subtle. But interestingly, our new digital cameras can pick up and photograph.
Yeah, let me run this clip of while we're out there in the desert. And this is what I was kind of noticing too, because what's all the people didn't know each other. 30 people, I think, around 30
Yep.
people over a period of 10 days. Strangers from the beginning, really amazing friends at the end, and it was an amazing experience. But to me,
Yeah.
it seemed like the phenomenon picked up exponentially as the days went on, maybe because there's more cohesiveness,
Right.
everybody has the same consciousness, there's more friendship that creates to maybe positive enlightenment. So here we were filming, I know out there Brent's mentioning he's behind the scene. At one point we were filming you as you're out there with the laser talking to the group. And when we went over the footage, things were, we had this ship, two ships just parked there over your shoulder. Like we went over the footage, we're like, what the heck is
Yeah.
that? Amazing stuff. Here's a little
Happen, and what's interesting, it happens all the time.
yeah, that's why these insights of what the CE5 is all about. You're going to see the phenomenon, and obviously Steve knows that this is going to go down, and it does. It was quite amazing. Here's that clip from CE5, the new frontier of contact.
Through the vastness of space and time, touching the very edge of the universe, Dr. Greer and his CE5 ambassadors embarked on a journey. Their collective, enlightened consciousness not only created an experience felt by the entire group, but also captured undeniable video evidence of contact. As the session continues, reviewing footage from the previous night, Greer highlights one of the most profound captures. Two starships, visible only to the camera crew, were not seen until the footage was reviewed in the morning, providing irrefutable proof of contact.
Oh my God, that's really awesome. Yeah, that's a classic light ship, very discreet area that lit up. And that's behind me, right, on the west. That's why when we first arrived on that site and I set it up there, I said, there'll be a lot here. And that's why I keep saying to people who are facing that way to, be conscious. There are teams that are extraterrestrial that try to mitigate some of the aggression but also damage, because it's not just man-made things that can happen. It's man-made
All right,
things that could
that's available right now. Amazon, Apple TV. The Genius link is in the description, so don't hesitate to watch that right after this insight to the film. Steve, again, the collective consciousness, the friendship. You did this also in the film, a little remote viewing experiment, but it wasn't an experiment. It proved to be proof of concept, because I don't want to give it away, but they were able to, somebody in the group was able to mind read a conscious thought from another room where you went with a couple other people, and then we went out, everybody got together and consciously tried to make a visualization of what you guys were thinking in the other room. And it was incredible what happened right before our eyes.
Right.
Is this another thing that happens quite often, more of a collective conscious to ascertain that kind of data? What is this? Telepathy? What's going on here?
Sure, because it's the nature of the conscious mind that everyone has, every sentient being in the universe, including humans. And the consciousness, see, people don't know what consciousness is. It's not what you're aware of. It's the ability to be awake. It's the aware field. It's the consciousness itself. And most people don't go deep enough to understand that. But if you take a step back and think right now, you're hearing my voice, you're seeing the two of us, what are you actually doing? You're perceiving. Well, what's perceiving? You're awake. Now, if you were to go deep into what is that faculty, what is that ability to be aware, and you just go deep into that, what you discover is that you can see with your consciousness. This is what remote viewing is. Any point in space or time. And we train people to do that. Why? Because interstellar civilizations use technologies as well as their innate psi or telepathic abilities to communicate the way we pick up a cell phone. And they're not communicating at the speed of light, which is this radio frequency, because if their home planet is 2 million light years away, it would take 2 million years for that message to get there. They're all dead. So I knew this when I was 18, that these civilizations use an interface of technology with consciousness, but not just random thought, coherent thought coming from a deep field of consciousness. And the deeper you're in meditative state and the clearer your mind is, the more accurate you can be in not only seeing, but also connecting to the extraterrestrial people and inviting them. And part of the protocol is, once you feel you've made a connection, is that you kind of like, it's like Google Earth, where you zoom in and show them your exact precise location. So this is a technique. It works. It's demonstrably works, and it's been proven to work with thousands of people all over the world where we've done this. Now we want, tens of millions of people to be ready to do it, because I think all of this is going to come out, and at some point we'll be at the age of, let's say, post acknowledging and disclosing this issue, to trying to create a civilization where humans make peaceful contact. And you know what? I deal with senators and congressmen and people in White House and other positions all the time. They don't know this very well. There are people at Lockheed Skunk Works and Northrop Grumman and CIA and JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command, that do, that are psionic operators, and that I know who they are. But your government leaders do not. And this is what we need to start a whole educational program for the public, but also our leaders. And who's gonna pioneer that? This is why we call it this frontier, right? It's the new frontier of contact, where we the people, go out and make contact. And it works because the very nature of our reality and extraterrestrial civilizations that are conscious, those people, we're all people. I mean, they look very different, and they may be from very diverse, star systems from ours. But when you boil it all down, they're awake, and we're awake. And that is the singularity. That's the point of contact. And when you can go deep into just pure awareness and pure conscious mind, which the meditation I teach helps with doing that, and the breathing exercises, all this is demonstrated in the movie, but also in the CE5 Contact app. Then you have the ability to see remote places. We call it remote viewing now, but also take it from not more than just seeing. Then you connect to them and invite them. So we don't call them, they're not butlers at Downton Abbey or something. We invite them politely to come in any way it's safe for them. Now, one of the protocols also is in any way that's safe and appropriate for this time and place in this group, because we know that there are weapon systems that can track them when they come 3D, that can hit them. We don't want our groups or the ETs to be harmed. So we have a very specific set of protocols around this, and it's because of the time we live in. I believe the time will come where it will be much easier to make contact. When I started the process with the public in 1990, this is our 36th year, it was much easier. There were way fewer weapon systems, less sophisticated. Now we have to be more and more careful, but we hope one of the executive orders that we've recommended to the president, and also we will be recommending now to the Secretary of War, Mr. Hegseth, because we can get materials to them directly, very directly, is that they stand down those offensive weapon systems, so that we're not targeting the ET craft and killing these innocent people who are on them. So that is one of the top recommendations that we're making, and that's important for CE5 contact. Why? Because right now, not just US airspace, but space all around the planet has been weaponized with technologies that can pick up a craft and hit it and knock it down. So one of the things we're trying to do is we're working on multiple fronts. One is the obvious, the government and military and all that, disclosure, the whole disclosure project. Now, the other, which is the foundational, and people need to remember this, the foundation of the disclosure project was CE5 contact. And let me tell you a little story of why. In 1992, we had a group about 60 people. I was crazy when I took that many people out to a wilderness setting on a beach near Pensacola, Florida. And we were doing the CE5 contact protocols, and 4 extraterrestrial vehicles just materialized in the sky, full on. We did not have good cameras. We got some of it. And some of you have seen that funny clip where this guy goes, "Holy damn hot shit." You know, it's hilarious. And we had a couple full bird colonels, Air Force colonels there, and a number of people. And that got picked up it was photographed and put in the local paper. And that ended up resulting in it getting picked up by the national security folks who track UFOs. And that's when I was contacted by a number of intelligence officials and military officials, including the former head of Army intelligence. And a year later, I ended up briefing President Clinton's CIA director on this. And that is when I realized that there had been a unconstitutional coup d'etat in the late 50s, where all of the UAP programs had gone illegal and treasonous. And that's when I decided to start the Disclosure Project. But back then it was called Project Starlight. But the genesis of the global disclosure movement was a CE5 contact event. And that blows, most people don't know that. It blows people's minds.
The origin of it.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, the idea of location as well, because we're out there in the desert, and in the film, it shows a period of 10 days and nights. You're doing protocol instruction, and then at night we went out and did these protocols. Everybody meditated. Then the phenomenon started to happen. What I really liked, and we're going to show a clip here, is the evidence that was presented the next day. And I thought that was really exciting. Marcel had some really amazing night equipment, taking, hundreds of pictures every second, monitoring the sky for any kind of anomaly. And there was so much evidence the next morning. And then the night after, we did it again. Next morning, more evidence being showcased to the group. And I think that's a pretty exciting part of the documentary, CE5, The New Frontier of Contact. Let's take a look at that segment right now.
It's a massive craft.
Oh, God.
Wow. I got that.
Yeah, that's what we were seeing. Come in just.
It's this,
look at this.
And then that light belongs to it.
Can we freeze it?
Yep.
After it gets to us, whoa. So that's not an aircraft and not a satellite. So yeah, it's one massive craft partially in this dimension. This is what we were seeing in the east and northeast that night. I kept pointing it out, and so did Pat. But luckily we have really great videographers here that got it. And then you have to go frame by frame to find these. Because remember, when they come into this dimension for security reasons, because they don't want to be hit by a weapon system, satellite weapon system, they can be there for a fraction, like a 58th of a second or a fraction of a second. And that's what you see with your eyes. You go, what is that? I just saw a flash. Well, if it's an ARV, it'll be humming along and then abduct you. But an ET craft, we're going to target those, we being our covert programs. And when they see, look at that. So that's the edge, and you see more of it over to as it goes down. So this is probably a very, very large craft. It was in the atmosphere. It wasn't way out in space. It was not, out over the desert there. When you see something like that, also keep in mind that if that camera has caught it, the NRO satellites caught it.
All right. So again, the documentary is available right now. Apple TV, Amazon, Genius Link is below in the description. You could watch it tonight with your friends, and then get the app, do your CE5 protocols, and who knows, you're going to be, I got a feeling you'll be capturing something, right, Steve?
Well, yeah, and people are surprised when they do it. I mean, we had, back when the Close Encounters of the Fifth movie first came out, Demi Lovato got the app and did it on her birthday, her 27th birthday, and this huge craft shows up with her friends. That's a true story by that. And same thing with William Shatner and a lot of other people. So this is going, a lot of people understand this now, but it seems very esoteric to the nuts and bolts disclosure movement, but it isn't. It's fundamental to it, because until people understand that these civilizations are not using 19th century and 20th century technology, which is what our phones and cars and jets are, right? They're using very advanced technology, so much so that the mind and consciousness of the occupants, the ETs, is integrated into the craft itself, where the craft itself is conscious with the awareness of the occupant or the pilot or the commander. And we know this, and covert programs know it. So I've known this since I was 18, and which I'll be 71 in June. So that was a long time ago. But I will tell you that this is beginning to be made very aware of in military and other circles. But what we want to do is be sure that the CE5 concept is always in the framework of diplomatic, peaceful contact. We're not doing it to acquire technology. We're not doing it for any selfish reason. We're doing it to create an ambassador relationship. And that's what we call the whole program, Ambassadors to the Universe, that we are humans volunteering in a frontier pioneering effort to be a liaison.
The secrecy on this subject. They're happy for people to think there are ETs or aliens out there. They really don't want people to know this. This is the heart of the secrecy. Because it is only by keeping this under wraps from the president, from the senators, and particularly the fourth estate, the media. It's really the media that have dropped the ball on this. No offense to my friends in the media. Because they're basically become scribes taking dictation from the right hand of the king, meaning whatever is told to them, instead of doing actual investigations and checks and balances. Big problem. Big problem in an alleged democracy.
Today, we stand at a precipice, an age unlike any that has come before. Humanity finds itself at a crossroads where incredible and terrible decisions will shape the very future of our planet. Yet, amidst this chaos, a revolution in technology unfolds, unprecedented in human history. We are on the verge of a new era. Is this societal breakdown inevitable when free energy and the stars themselves lie just beyond our reach?
Obviously, I'm going to be the team leader, but in reality, it's a team.
Point of contact between humans and these extraterrestrial civilizations. And it's very important that people know how to do this. Because let's take a situation where if everything starts going sideways, right? And they start pushing buttons and pulling triggers in this covert group, criminal group, we're gonna need a lot of people who know how to rationally make contact with these civilizations, and the future of humanity and the earth could hang in the balance on that. I'm just gonna let people think about what I'm saying here. We don't have time to unpack it, but I will tell you that it is of great consequence, and people need to master this protocol. They need to understand what we're doing with CE5 Contact. They need to get the app, and they need to begin to practice. It's fun. I mean, we have so much fun going out there and doing this. I mean, oh, and by the way, those of you who can get free to do it, we're going to allow 20 people with us at a private small group here in Virginia towards the end of May. And that's up on our website, drstephengreer.com. And we're also going to be right here near the University of Virginia on top of a mountain. We can have 350 people with us, and that'll be at the end of July. So if you guys want to come, those things will fill up. But those of you hearing this now, that information is up on our website, so you can check that out. And I would really like to ask everyone to share the link to this movie and the Genius link and send it out, because we really want to be able to get this message out to a maximum number of people at this exact moment. As we now have the President of the United States ordering the disclosure of these UFO files. by the Secretary of War, Hegseth. This is on a fast track, and I can't go into all what I know about it, but people need to be prepared, and we need to be prepared for any contingency. So that disclosure process could go well, it could go sideways. And we're making all preparations. But I think the general public, people always say, what can I do? You can go out and be a conscious mind of reason and enlightenment and show another face of humanity to these extraterrestrial people. One that's peaceful, one that's enlightened, one that wants to look forward, and a vision of the world becoming part of an interstellar coalition down the road, but also all these wonderful technologies coming out within this construct of not just world peace, but of universal peace. And the foundation of universal peace is the experience of the universality of our own conscious mind.
Well said, Steve. Again, CE5, the new frontier of contact, it's out. It was just released a few days ago. The James link is in the description. Share it wide. Let everybody learn about CE5. It's important. What Stephen just said, just kind of wrapped it up in a nutshell. I think that's about it. I know you're busy. You got to get going, but
yeah, thank you guys.
Dang.
God bless everyone, and I look forward to hoping seeing some of you here in Virginia. And we will have one other programming note, very important. This May 2026 is the 25th anniversary of the Disclosure Project National Press Club event that kicked all this out into the public. And we're going to do something in Washington. Stay tuned. We're not sure what. It's going to be wonderful. And we're going to do it for that 25th anniversary. And then on the 8th and 9th. And then on the 10th, some of my favorite rock bands are going to be here in the area outside DC, Godsmack and Stone Temple Pilots. And I'll be out partying with them and having fun with 30,000 people. So maybe I'll see you there too.
All right, Steve. Hey, amazing stuff. All right, guys, everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. Watch CE5, the new frontier of contact, everybody. We'll see you.
Thanks, you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Through the vastness of space and time, touching the very edge of the universe, Dr. Greer and his CE5 ambassadors embarked on a journey. Their collective, enlightened consciousness
Oh my God.
not only created an experience felt by the entire group, but also captured undeniable video evidence of contact.
See, look at that. Your consciousness and your belief system is deterministic as to whether or not these civilizations want to make contact with you. So that's an actual ET craft in the field.
What is this?
There it is.
A CE5 expedition with over 700 people from around the world to make peaceful contact with extraterrestrial beings.
How beautiful.
That's what the CE5 initiative is. The secrecy on this subject. They're happy for people to think there are ETs or aliens out there. They really don't want people to know this. This is the heart of the secrecy. See, this is really the unfolding of this infinite conscious quantum hologram. There's so many trans-dimensional objects that are lighting up and coming on and off out here.
There it is.
If you're a sincere ambassador to the universe, you want to make contact with them first.